Good morning, guys. Sunday vibes here. I'm tired. I'm still in my robe. We had a celebration last night here. Um, Thank you for joining us whenever you're tuning into this video. But we'll just wait for Natalie Clark to get on. But we are going to talk about receiving love today, especially as moms. Moms sometimes don't even realize that we perhaps aren't receiving the love that's being fed back to us because we're putting out love and getting it back is something that maybe you don't even realize you're doing. So I think it's really a cool topic to talk about. It's very present in my consciousness. Anyone who's in the group has seen I've been posting about it, and this year has been a very different year for me around my birthday of being able to receive love. I've had some really big awarenesses, big awakenings around my inability to receive love. I don't know if that's Natalie that's on. Can I tag you? Oh, I tagged you. Hopefully that helps. So, yeah, I guess I'll just share a little bit about what happened for me. So, you know, every year you get the birthday love on Facebook, and I actually really, really enjoy that. I really enjoy all the messages and the opportunity to remember about people that I no longer talk to, that no longer in my daily life, and see their messages, and they always make me happy. And they make me happy, but I did something different this year, and I honored that, like, I honored the energy that these people put forth to send me a message. And I wanted to devote time and energy of my own to sitting down with it and really receiving these birthday messages, because I've been doing a lot of work around receiving love. And so I sat down and I did a meditation where I amplify love, and then I bring these people into it very specifically, into this field, right? Okay, I'm just going to bring Natalie on. And I went through every single birthday message, which was like 100 of them, and went through them in this way. And it was really, really overwhelming and really, really powerful. Hi, Natalie. Hey, so nice to see you. I'm in Sunday vibes. I'm in my robe. I was gonna get dressed,
Oh,
and I'm
I'm
like,
still in
no,
my jammies. I brushed my hair, put ears on, put some lipstick, and I'm like, whatever,
we're
man.
good to go. Yeah, Sunday
And I brushed my
vibes.
teeth.
Nice.
So sorry to interrupt. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, I was just talking about sort of how receiving love has really been in my consciousness. And so at my birthday I had sat down really devoting time and energy to receiving the time and energy that people put into giving me a happy birthday message. And what happened was something really profound and overwhelming for me. And it was like, as I went through the messages, I'm calculating, like, how far back some of these friends go. And they go back like 13 years. And, in the height of dealing with my trauma, I really realized, like, I have had friends for a long time now, but I was still playing this story in my head that I don't have friends because I moved all the time when I was a kid. So I didn't have childhood friends, right? And so I still had this story playing in my mind as I was dealing with trauma. And in this moment, as I'm going through, I'm like, wow, like this goes back to 13 years old. And that's 30 years, man. Like that's 31 years ago. So I'm like, I've had friends for a very long time. That's like some people who have lifelong friends, right? Like, and it
Yeah.
really, like, I really received it. Like I started to feel really intense sadness. And it was because for 30 years, I haven't been receiving the love that was right there with me. I haven't been receiving it. And don't get me wrong, every birthday, like I get birthday love and I'm very happy and it makes me happy. I really enjoy remembering some of these people, but this was different. And why it was different was because I've been doing a lot of work around receiving love. And this time I was really receiving it. I was really receiving that, wow, you're still sending me a message even though I haven't seen you in 20 years, or I haven't seen you in 50, you know what I mean? Or we haven't
Yeah.
really communicated a lot, and I was really receiving it. And so one of the first things I learned when I started to think about this topic of receiving love was that you receive energetically through the back of your heart. And when I first did a meditation with that, I felt the resistance at the back of my heart. And a lot of people do. This has been the experience of a lot of people when I'm in these meditations. And so it's really interesting. Energetically, we might be blocked from receiving love. So how many moms are like people pleasers, givers? Everybody I know in this group, we're givers of the heart, right? We give, we give, we give. And our outer world reflects back to us what we put out, right? And so if you're someone that puts out so much love, are you receiving the feedback though of that love? Or are you
Oh,
deflecting it? A lot of people deflect it with humor, with sarcasm, with
oh, you
just,
shouldn't have, things like that, right?
yeah,
Especially
we
when we
just,
receive things, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have done
yes, oh, you
that.
shouldn't have
This
done
is
that.
too much.
Yes, oh, yes, yes.
You deserve too much,
Yeah. It's like,
right?
thank you, thank you. I think of Carolyn Waters is my like business coach, and she always says it. Like she says, just say thank you. Just say thank you and see
Yeah.
what that so that you're not throwing it in their court. You're keeping it. And then you're
Yeah.
then and maybe you can't receive it in that moment, but keep it with you. Keep the energy with you. And just say thank you. Oh, wow, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Oh, yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. Just do
Yeah.
that. And that's the
Yeah.
beginnings of receiving.
Yeah. Mm. And that's interesting that you talk about the back of the heart because I've heard of that often, but I hadn't heard about it in a while. And then you brought it up well, last night, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's powerful because often when we in so many meditations, um, always concentrate on, like, put your hand on your heart. It's
Mhm.
always about the
About
front part, like the
yes.
torso part,
Oh, yeah, you're
and
right.
it's like the back of the heart. Like there's a back way in there,
Like,
right?
wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on in the back of my heart? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things, like, so with the receiving, one of the things I will visualize often, all the time now, actually, it's very ingrained in me, is when I want to, like, if I'm imagining giving love to a person, I'm imagining a figure eight coming out of my heart. So I'm pushing love out, and as energy works all the time, it comes back right in a circuit. And you imagine an eight, it goes out and then it loops back and it comes in the back of your heart. And if you sit with that flow, that infinite flow, you can imagine that's how I loosened up that energy in my back of my heart. Is I just imagine that flow going out and that it comes back to me 10 times and it keeps going through and it keeps going through until there's an open flow. It's just like your chakras. Like you want to break through
Yes.
these energy blocks.
Yeah. It's a really great visual.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Especially,
find
and I
that
love
helps
I love the number eight, the figure eight, because it's
all kinds of
infinity,
things.
right? And
Yeah.
love is infinite. It never
Yes.
ends, right?
Yes. It's
Especially when
always
you can
there.
harness it. Yeah. And like that true love, not like, oh, I love my car, or
No.
I love these new jeans, or whatever. Even like the in love
Yeah.
thing, like
This
true,
we're
like
talking divine love, what we
feeling
are.
connected to everyone, and just feeling
Yeah.
feeling that inner love with inside of you, just wanting to share it with everybody. And like, today's topic is also receiving that inner love that others may want to share with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, are you receiving? Like, because if I think about, I'm very intentional with my love now, right? Like, because I understand that what you're talking about, like, it's infinite, it's divine love, it's our nature. It is the love that is our nature, right? And that's why we're here is to learn how to love through this experience, you know? And so, if
Yeah.
I'm very intentional with my love, it's my greatest wish that somebody can receive that love.
Yeah.
But I can see, like, so I'm going through this right now because I've been blasting people with love. I'm just bursting with love because of this, like being able to receive 30 years of love, right? That I haven't been able to
Yeah.
receive. And it's profound too, because I'm realizing that I can receive it now. So the sadness that I'm feeling, I've been able to transmute it in a healthy way, because the sadness isn't, I haven't actually lost all that love. It's actually right here with me right now, because everything is here in the present moment. And that could be new for some people listening in, but hold space for that. Everything is in the present moment. So even what you think you've lost is actually here with you when you tune into that divine love within you. So where was I going with this? Now I forgot. Damn it. Maybe I was just meant to say that.
Well, I believe it was like how mothers have such a difficult time
Yeah.
accepting, like receiving love. Like maybe we think we're accepting it because we're like,
Yes.
oh, thank you,
On
or
the
whatever. But it's so not in the moment, and it's just
automatic.
like a default response,
Yeah.
right? Like you get a Christmas card from your kids, and it's like, oh, thank you, or your kid paints you something, it's like, oh, thanks, that's so sweet, and it's like, but even though you come from it from a place of kindness, like be more
Kindness.
intentional about it. Like when my daughter brings me something, she made, oh, it's upstairs, I should have grabbed it, but maybe I'll bring it the next live. It's so beautiful. It's like this, she painted it, and it's like, I don't know if she said it was a sunset or a sunrise. I think it's sunrise. But the colors are just so beautiful. And I was looking at it and I'm
Mm.
like, oh my God. Like I really took the time to be present with her and the painting.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, when we go out, go to like the dollar store and stuff every weekend or every week, I'm like, I want to measure it and get a frame for it and put it up. And like because again, that's what I felt in that moment. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like I would love to like have this hanging up like in a living room or something.
Yeah.
And when we're intentional and when we're present, that love that was given to us and the love that we're giving back is just magnified,
Yes,
right? And
exactly.
sometimes it's just doing these really small things um, that starts kind of chipping away at that wall that we built around
Yeah,
our hearts.
that's exactly
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
exactly it. And I love that you said amplify, because that's this love amplifies. This is the kind of love that changes people around you just by you being it, by being love, right? Like you don't have to
Oh,
do anything. You don't have to do anything. But when you open your heart and you just be in that love and shamelessly be that love, right? It affects people. That's the light that affects people. And another thing I'm thinking as you're saying this is like this painting behind me. My brother-in-law painted for me, and he painted. It's funny because I was sitting down and really thinking about the love that came into this painting, right? And I was thinking, yeah, the love that came into this painting, and I could have looked at it different ways. Like I could have looked at it. He painted it last minute. It was still wet when he came, right? So he painted
right.
it last
Yeah.
minute. So I could focus on like, oh, like you know what I mean? He didn't
Like
really
he
think of
just
me with a
rushed
gift
through
or
it or something.
exactly. And or I can look at it the way I chose to look at it. And it was like, he's a busy dad of three running his own business, and he knows I really enjoy paintings. Last year he gave me this other painting behind me and for my
Yeah.
office, and he knew I wanted art, like I wanted other people's art in my office. And so he gave me that, you know and I love that painting. And then he made this
So
for me,
beautiful.
which I
Yeah.
thought was so thoughtful, right? So thoughtful. And so yeah, I was like, he put time and energy, his time and energy into it, and I was worth
Yeah.
it. I was worth it for him to put that time and energy in.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's receiving. Receiving is I am worthy. I
Yeah.
am deserving.
Yeah.
And moms, are we doing that? Because I don't believe a lot of moms are doing that. I believe we more often deflect it, or it's just our nature. We just think like, well, it's just what I do. I just love people.
Yeah. And it's not something. we were taught,
No,
right?
no.
How to receive love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jessica's watching. Hi, Jessica. And I think Julie is too, like on the little heart emojis.
Are
So if
they?
you're watching,
Okay, I
Julie, drop
can't
a heart.
see anything. For some reason, I'm not seeing anything. I saw a heart come up.
Oh,
I did see a heart come up, but that's it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
sorry, guys, if I'm not
Um,
saying anything, but thank you for being here with us.
yeah. So because I guess it's also the culture, this culture of consumerism and go, go, go. And we have to rush through everything. We have to rush through, what we were talking about yesterday with, your family and friends about, rushing through the holidays. Like sometimes it gets super busy. I'm like 4, 5, 6 gatherings in a month, and you're just rushing
Mhm.
from one thing to another. And when we're also receiving gifts and giving gifts in those situations, again, we're just rushing through them, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like how many, like we really try to, one child opens one gift and everybody's watching that child,
present with that child.
and everybody being excited about it, right?
Mm.
Like really taking the time, like
Oh, I
slow the
like
hell
that.
down,
I'm
people.
gonna take that
That's a
on.
great way to,
Mm.
because then if we're not slowing down, then we're rushing. And if you're rushing, you can't actually receive something. You can
Mhm.
physically receive it, but are you really taking the
Energetically.
time to, like you said, like, your brother-in-law took the time and the energy, and he's a busy guy, and just the love, like he was thinking of like that energy and that love that he was pouring into it as he was painting it, right?
Yeah, and
So
he showed
just even
everybody.
taking a moment, you don't have to like go off on a dialogue and a big thank you speech, guys, but
Yeah.
just be present with that person and that gift or whatever, a meal or whatever it is that they're offering you, being like, wow,
And
like
you're worthy of it. Even
thank
a
you,
meal.
and feeling that
Yes.
energy like the figure 8, right?
Yeah.
Going through you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. That figure eight is a really great practice, guys, to start with. Like, start with, like, oh my gosh, I love you for this gift. Send it out and then receive it and be like, oh, you love me too. I'm worthy. I am worthy of your time. I'm worthy. Like, I was feeling that way last night. I'm worthy. There was snow outside. I'm worthy of these people taking that time and effort to come out here to visit with me. I'm worthy.
Mm.
Because do you even receive that love? You know what I mean? Just somebody coming to visit you. You can receive love in that moment. And Julie,
Wow.
hello, Julie. I love you. I see comments now. Thank you for having this beautiful conversation. Thank you for joining us. I love this conversation because there's so many ways we can receive love. There's so many opportunities for us to receive the feedback of love. That
Mm-hmm.
love is running, that divine love is running throughout the entire universe, right?
Yeah.
We are all it. We all
Mm-hmm.
express it.
Yeah. So I have a question, especially more focused on the back of the heart, because this is where how we receive love. Have you ever come across in your studies like a specific meditation or a specific practice that helps kind of unlock that? Because I know there's a lot of
Yes.
like heart chakra meditations, but again, I feel like they all focus on the front of the heart, right?
Right, right. They
Have you
do.
ever encountered anything where it's more focused on the back of the heart?
Not one that I could share. Laura Parkinson's the one that taught me receiving
Mm.
love through the back of the heart. And she was taught by Joy Kingsborough. So it's possible that Joy Kingsborough has something that I just haven't
Yeah.
tuned into. But every time, like in our membership, like every time we meet on a call, we start with a sort of that sort of energy, moving it through the back. We
Yeah.
always send out amongst all of us on the call, and then receiving it through the back. She always reminds us to receive it from the back with that
Mm.
figure eight. So no,
Yeah.
I do one that's called it's from Zayad Masri, and it's called Embracing Love, and it's about embracing divine love. So that really helps to unlock, but it's not
Mm.
focused on the back of the heart.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Something to explore more,
Yeah,
eh?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, because it's not something talked about. I don't like. I had heard about it in the past, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's just so much information, and you're
Oh, tons. It's
yeah,
not a
told me
common
told me
thing.
told but that often you don't wind up using until a specific moment in time. So when you brought that
Yeah.
up last night, I was just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about this. What did you say? You were like, "Oh, it's feeling crunchy. Let's talk about this."
Yeah, talking about receiving, like as moms
It's not
receiving
comfortable. We like
that
to
love, even
give.
that self-love too, right?
Yeah, we like to give, right? Like in general, women like to give. Julie's laughing emoji. Yeah, we like to give, but like receiving is so important. Receiving
Good.
is what opens your heart. Receiving is what softens the guard. You said it, the guard that we've put around our heart. We've put such a guard around our heart with good reason. With good reason.
Yeah,
But energetically, we can dissolve that. And in order to dissolve it, we need to begin to let love in.
yeah.
There's people I know in my life that don't receive love. And I can very clearly see it, right? And I didn't
Sometimes it's
think
really obvious,
it's very
right? Where someone does
obvious.
something so kind to them, and then all that person gets like a super snarky remark.
Yes. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah. And so
but
we can fool ourselves then. We can fool
mhm,
ourselves into thinking that we are receiving, like we're better than. The ego will do that. The
mhm,
ego will be like, oh, well, I'm not like that, right? But
yeah,
you're all that person is deserving, but you are deserving too. You still deserve to receive. So yeah, I'm like that's what's landing for me is that like, even though I have lots of friends, I have lots of people who love me. I love seeing them. I'm not dismissive of them like I see other people can be of other people. We are all of the same love. We're all of the same love. But some of us have a really hard time receiving, and some of us can receive a little bit, but on a superficial surface, right? Just like, oh, yeah, thanks. Oh, thanks. Even if somebody says to you, like, hey, Natalie, I love your earrings because you always wear such great earrings and hats, right? Like, I love your earrings. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I paid $2 for them. That's not receiving
right,
it.
yeah, that deflection, right?
That's a deflection.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah,
What is,
because we make receiving love such a task.
yeah.
That's what's coming in. That we make it such a task
Right.
that it has to be effort, and it can be effortless. Love is really supposed to
So
be
effort.
effortless, but again, we built
I
this
love that.
wall around our hearts that turns it into a task because it can't go through because there's like 10 feet of cement, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And also just, I mean, for many reasons, and Julie has a great comment that we can read after this.
Mm.
I mean, for many reasons, one of which when we drop into this body, guys, we're automatically like, boop, like dropped into a world of trauma and lower vibrations. And
Separation.
again, that's okay. The whole point is trying to work our way through this, right?
Yeah.
Um, but often, especially with you know, and there's a lot of research about this now of, really early traumatic childhood events or really early traumatic events when you were first born, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm adopted and I probably spent a whopping like 1 second in the presence of my mom, of my birth mom after I was born because it was like first poop out.
Yeah.
So what do you think that does to a baby? I mean, there's
Energetically,
no
like
active
that's nope.
thinking at that stage. There's no active thinking at that stage, but
There's an
just
imprint though.
instinctively, you're
Yeah.
like, where the hell am I? I'm not safe. There's that first wall.
Yeah. I'm not
And
safe.
then bouncing around foster homes for a few months, oh, there's another wall. And whatever childhood crap my mind defined, because we're always defining, we're always putting meaning into things. All that childhood stuff too. Boom, another wall, another wall, another wall, right?
Yeah.
And the more
Imprint.
walls we build, it's like we keep building on those walls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it can
And
take a
then it
long
becomes
time. So
denser and denser and denser. And like you said, it becomes a concrete wall.
yeah, yeah. And it's, think about it, like that's decades of wall building that we're starting to, you know, kind of chip away at.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to take 4 or 5 decades, but some stuff is really, I mean, some
Love is
stuff
so
you just don't want
powerful.
to freaking touch, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, ugh. Or you may not even consciously remember it, but
Yeah.
it's still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And love is powerful. Love's a powerful force. It's the most powerful force we have. And so it
Mm,
doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be another 40 years, right? To
yeah.
break down the wall. So it's worth the work. It really is. So what was it that Julie said here? Physically separating. Oh yeah. So here, physically separating from those that we love is so painful. And that is why I started to close my heart as a child when my grandmother died. Yeah. And now, as I am sitting with my cat who is passing away, my heart feels so broken, even though I know the love will remain when his body goes. Yeah, that's true for me too with my pets. It feels like I want to close my heart again, but I am choosing to keep it open and receive the love he is giving me back. Thank you for that reminder to keep receiving his love. Pets are something special too, right? It's unconditional love. Children,
Yeah.
babies.
There's no filter with animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Julie.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, and that's a really good point is like these experiences, like what Natalie's talking about, we have these experiences, we're dropped into this body. We have these experiences. We're still unsure how to process where we are, as children. And all we know is it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to lose love. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel good. So of course, what are you going to do to protect yourself to feel safe? You're gonna build, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, I gotta guard this. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Especially depending on how, especially when it comes to losing loved ones,
Yeah.
how are we taught to move through that as children?
Yeah.
You know, were you allowed to cry at home?
Yeah.
Were you allowed to talk about your feelings? Were you allowed to cry over your goldfish?
Yes. Oh my
Like, doesn't
gosh.
matter who died. If it's someone you love, doesn't matter what form it's in,
And as a
right?
child, they love that goldfish. Oh, you're right. That's a good
Yeah,
example of the goldfish.
yeah,
Because as a parent, you do just sort of like, it's not a big deal. It's a goldfish.
yeah. Flush it down the toilet, whatever.
That's
And then
devastating.
also, and then there's the like the generational stories or like the beliefs. Like I grew up in a Catholic home, so it's like, oh, pets don't go to heaven. And I'm like that broke my heart. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Don't worry, pets go to heaven. Pets, yeah, like everything has a soul. Everything has some sort of
Everything has,
consciousness. So,
yes.
but again, when we're so young that we think this is how it is. Mom and dad are saying this. This is law. This is how it is. There's no other way because you look up to your parents, right? So all this information that you're getting, these, when especially when we're going through grieving periods or periods where other people can be really, really ill,
Hmm.
we look to these adults, and it may not even necessarily be parents, like maybe we're looking to our grandparents, older siblings, whoever, for guidance, and they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
but then we're just like, okay, like this is how we do it. And then again, it's like shields up, right? Like walls up around our
What's up?
heart, because do I really want another pet if I'm never gonna, I'm not gonna see them up in heaven or whatever? Like all these stories as a 5, 6-year-old you're going through, right?
Man, I'm feeling it. Like I'm even feeling like, wow, that's a lot of stories by just five, that we've
Yeah,
already that we've
yeah,
already learned, like the immensity of that.
yeah. Well, Julie says that when she was young, they were taught not to talk about it because that brings up the pain. Love that how you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have an opportunity here to do things different, right?
Yes.
To have these really open conversations with our children. However, we wind up with these conversations, because again, everybody takes in information differently. You know your child best, right?
Yeah.
About how to approach these subjects, but really approach it more in an open and honest way, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know, just be like, dude, I don't
I
know.
don't
You know, and
know.
it
I
feels
say
good to be
that a lot.
human.
I say that a
Yeah.
lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even say, like, you know, when Alice is upset or something and I think I'm messing it up, like I'm making it worse, let's say. Do you get
Yeah.
that? Like they're upset and you're trying
Yeah.
to make
Oh
the
yeah.
situation better and it seems worse all of a sudden. And I will
Yeah.
stop and be like, honey, I don't know. I can see that I'm making it worse. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying my best. But what I do know is I love you.
Yeah.
What
And
I
that's
do know
bringing
is I
the
love you.
humanity back into parenting. Because parenting in the last, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 years is so like, it seems like it's factory made. Like, this is
Yeah.
how you need to do it, right? And there's a whole industry on it. You
Yeah.
know, the parenting coaches and the books and stuff. And not that there's anything wrong with all these great resources, because I work with parents as well, but it's just, it's not factory made. It's how, like, how do you want to parent, you know, and
Yeah.
how are you bringing that honesty, you know, how are you, because as you're breaking down your own walls, you're also like, shit, how am I want to say this? Okay, as you're breaking down your own walls, you're also either helping your child not build up so thick of walls, or you're also showing them like that there are walls, just being honest that there are walls, like,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like Julie said that they weren't allowed to talk about it because it brings up the pain. Well, pain's just part of being human, you know. The pain, like, you know, touching a hot stove or a hot kettle and you're like, oh shit. Well, when we're going through trauma, when we're just
Going
moving
through
through life as
life.
humans, it's really painful. And it's okay that it's painful. It's okay that it hurts, because again, especially if we're speaking energetically, it's all energy. So it's
Yes.
okay that you feel that pain. It's okay to feel that sadness, that sometimes that overwhelming grief.
Yeah.
But it's also okay to, like, it's supposed to move through us. And sometimes it takes, you know, sometimes it's like the traffic on the 401, it's moving super slow, but it's
And
still
it's super
moving out,
painful while you're
right?
moving through it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and kind of off topic, but whatever, I'll go with it. And teaching our children while they're going through this, or we're going through this, be like, okay, yeah, like the energy is moving through us, and if it's moving slow, that's okay. Like, what are some things that you can maybe help you while this energy is moving through you? Like, maybe it's music, right? Maybe it's creating art. Maybe it's journaling about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going outside and yelling your freaking head off. I don't know. Like, what are some like healthier modalities instead of bottling it all up and not talking about it?
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And love runs through all of it. Love runs through this entire world. Love runs through all of creation. And so that music that you're listening to, love is running through that because that was somebody's creation of love in love, right? Like we are love. So whatever we create is created with our love. And so can
Yeah.
we, that's another way of receiving love is whatever your go-to is, whatever, if it's music that lights you up, if it's drawing that lights you up, if it's a funny comedy show that lights you up, there was creation in love within that. That's another way to receive love is to love, bring love to it. All the discomfort that you're feeling, I mean, this might be going too far, but it's what wants to come through. I believe, I believe we chose, right? We chose to come here, right? We chose to land in these bodies. We knew what we were doing coming into here, and then we forgot. And all these experiences, these painful experiences, were also chosen in love on the other side. They were chosen in love. So even the person that's hurting me, as a soul, it was decided I will play that role for you. I will play that role for
Yeah.
you that will hurt you. I will hurt you because this is what you want to learn. You know what I mean? And so when we're here, it's painful. It's painful. But this is something I've grown into, as I really understand that it was done in love.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole nother level of receiving love. And it's okay if that, if you're listening to this and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Angie, right? That's okay. I make it very clear that's where I come from all the time, is that this belief that we chose this at a soul level. This was planned to come in, including the people that I'm with here, you know? And so that's the way I've been able to forgive my traumas, is understanding the love in the situation. But I honor the pain too. I honor the pain. I honor the grief that I'm feeling. I honor the anger that I might feel, the shame, the guilt, you know what I mean? These are very real feelings that happen in the present moment when you're human.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole point of this, oh, and before, I just want to say hi to Rhonda and Amanda. I just saw their names pop up.
Oh, okay.
Totally around.
Hi
Hope you're
guys.
watching too. Yeah, and just to go a bit more into that, Angie. I mean, these heavier emotions, the grief and the shame and the sadness and the pain and all this. This is how we this is how our souls or our spirit expands, is through this experience. Because there's like 7 billion humans or whatever on this planet right now, but we're each a drop out of the same bucket of life. And the whole, nature just naturally expands. We were talking about it yesterday about like how the universe expands and everything. But it's the same thing.
Yes,
This
and
is
that's
why we're
love.
having all these experiences, because we're
Yes.
one day, when we were way up there, wherever you want to, imagine where we are,
Mm-hmm.
when we're not in these bodies, we're like, hey, let's keep doing this. Like, this is evolution. This is how we evolve. Of how far can we expand?
Yes.
And what better way to expand our soul than to drop it in a physical body in an incredibly low density planet that is
So dense, so
like
dense.
buried in a fog of like hatred and pain and crap.
Yes.
Because once you're down, the only way is up. But we have to have all these different experiences. We have to we have to be the murderer in one life. We have to be the nun. We have to be the monk. We have to be, the boring, average, stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Because all of these lessons that we are learning, it expands us. This is like, I don't know, think of like a giant brain or computer or something, and that like all these experiences are making it wiser, making it bigger. So
And
when you
love.
have that point of view, it's a lot easier to, first of all, stay in your own lane, and second of all, not to judge people, because it's like, yeah, maybe, that dickhead's a real dickhead, but he is having that experience because maybe he's never been a dickhead before. Maybe he's never,
Maybe he needs to
and
be, maybe he
so
loves someone so much that he's being the dickhead for their growth,
he needs to
for
be
their
on the receipt. He
expansion.
needs to be the dickhead because maybe in a previous life he was, he was the loving person in the relationship.
Yeah.
So now he needs to experience the other side of it, and that's all this is just experiences. And it's really difficult for some people to, and if you can't, and if it's really difficult for you to take this in, then that's okay, because
It is
that's
okay.
part of dropping in this body. Is there's like this giant veil or curtain in front of us. And this is why Angie and I do this, is to kind of help people see wherever they're at. But yeah, I don't even know why we went off on this, but
What's coming
this
in
grief
though?
and everything, we are meant to move through this grief and the shame, and that, being exhausted and feeling crappy and maybe struggling with our physical health or our mental health.
Yes.
We're meant to move through this because, that is what expands our soul.
And you keep saying expand, and all I'm hearing in my head is love. Love is the expanding force. Love is the expansion. Love is the energy that expands.
Yeah, love's
It's
like
the
the magic
ultimate.
carpet. That's
It's
what
the
I'm
ultimate
visualizing right
energy.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, love is like that magic carpet. Like if anybody's seen Aladdin, dating myself. Love is like that magic carpet that you sit on, like that figure eight that Angie was talking about earlier. Well, love is like that magic carpet that's taken that figure eight trip to make it a little bit smoother
Yes.
when we're going through these really shitty times, because you're still going to go through shitty times. I don't care how woke you are.
Yeah.
I mean, monks in Timbuktu or whatever, still human. They still have really shitty days, guys.
Yeah. They still
But
judge. They still
they
do all the
know that
things.
love just smooths out those speed bumps just like a little bit. So instead of like this crazy ass roller coaster ride, it's a little more like this, right? Where you still have ups and downs, but it's not as chaotic.
Yeah. I'm just going to read Julie's thing here. What time are we at? I can't. Oh, there I see it. 11:40. All right. So Julie says, now I choose with my children to talk about our lost ones, our lost loved ones all the time. I love to remember all the love and the gifts and knowledge and experiences that they gave us. Yes. That is how we keep them and our love alive for them. Yes, because it's energy, right? And continue to receive their love even when their bodies are no longer with us. I love looking at the pictures and telling stories about our experiences and the lessons that they taught us. Oh, that's so beautiful, Julie. And remind them, yeah, and remind them that it's okay to feel the pain. Yes, it's okay. And let it move through our bodies. It's okay to feel sad and heartbroken. Of course, we honor the feelings. We honor the feelings. We always honor the feelings. But that doesn't mean that love isn't there anymore. The love is still there, but we honor the feelings.
Oh, wow. So imagine all that love that you received on your birthday, Ange. It was like 30 years worth. But now imagine all that love that we may still be holding back, because maybe we're open to receiving love from our loved ones that are still in physical form.
Yes.
But are we receiving love from the people that are no longer in physical form?
Yes, because they're sending us our love.
Coming to you, right?
What about your guides? Like your guides, if you understand that we have guides and we have guidance, like they love us unconditionally. That's actually one of the things that really helped me learn unconditional love. My pets was the other one, like super unconditional love. I realized that they came here on purpose, and I realized how they led me on this life journey I'm on. Like
that no matter what you do,
didn't matter what I did.
Those beings that have that unconditional love,
babies.
It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah. And moms, let's bring it back to being a mom and having children. Our children love us unconditionally. And I know we've all had moments, like Natalie and I were just talking last night about those moments where it's fed back to you and you realize how much they love you and they listen to you and they, you know what I mean? And they're taking in the guidance from you, right? And they feed it back to you, because everything in our external world, including our children, are a reflection back. It's feedback back to us. And our children are the ultimate feedback of our unconditional love. And are you receiving it?
That wisdom, and they learn. So when you were saying, they learn, these lessons that sometimes we're like, is this any of this sinking in, right?
Yes,
whether those are spiritual lessons or just day-to-day like life lessons, but then they bring it, they
show it to you,
they offer that lesson back to us, but in their own way. So are we receiving
that message? I love how you said that. I love how you said that too. It's in their own way, and we might be missing it because it doesn't look the way we give it.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good. I love
it. Both of us just blew my mind.
I know. That's just amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that's a question to ask yourself. Are you aware? Because as moms, we're busy. We're so caught up, but maybe we're not even realizing, they're showing it to us in their way. Yeah. That's why maybe it seems like it's not sinking in, because they're digesting it through their filter, through their heart, through their, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then learning how to express it in their way. Like that takes time. Yeah. So maybe all this time that we're like, is this even working? Are you even listening to me? Like maybe we can soften there.
Yeah, because we also have to remember, like in a biological sense, your brain does not stop growing until around the age of 25.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Think about that. So all like these mommy brain farts and stuff that we joke about when, when we have kids, and that's a legit thing, but that's probably another thing
Totally
to talk
is.
about. But have that, so have that kind of point of reference when, maybe they're struggling to get the words out, or they can't really explain it, and maybe they're getting frustrated, or maybe they don't even tell you anything. Maybe they just, rush in the room and they give you a crumpled piece of paper and then they run out because again, that their brain hasn't completely developed. So it's all just kind of like this little like tornado of biological and spiritual and all this stuff is they're trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just hard to find the words. It's hard to put them to, just like I'm stumbling right now, right? And then so when we're looking at like 5-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 14-year-olds,
Yeah.
So are you receiving those, lessons, those messages, that love that the universe is giving to you through through your children,
Yeah.
right?
That you're giving
Even in those
yourself,
simple
even
moments
your
where,
unit.
they pass you a bottle of water.
Yeah. I even like to think of it as I'm giving the gift to myself. The universe is delivering it, but I chose it as a soul. I chose it
Yeah.
as a soul. And so the universe is just delivering through on my choices. Because that's something that a lot of people talk about when it comes to this idea that we chose this. And my husband always he's a reflection of that for me. He'll always say like, yeah, but I don't like to think that I don't have choice then. And I'm like, no, but you do have choice. You actually
Oh
chose
yeah.
it before you came here.
Yeah.
The universe is just delivering it to you in the way you chose, right? And you can choose
Yeah.
though in that moment what you're going to do with it. You could choose fear, you could choose love, right? You can
Yeah.
choose to deflect the love or the lesson,
Ah,
and you
deflecting
can
the love. Yeah.
you can choose to
That's
deflect
something
the
that
love.
that's something that moms and maybe even women do, right? Like maybe it's
Yes.
it's so ingrained in women, and
Yes.
it's just amplified as moms because moms are often seen in this modern society as the givers, the givers, the givers.
Yes.
Like our cups are always empty. We're always, and it's normal. It's normal now
Yes.
to, be anxious and be burnt out
Yes.
and be stressed and be overworked and hustle, hustle, hustle. Even when you're a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
like I was talking to my sister the other day, and I mean, all her kids are in school now. And she's a stay-at-home mom, and she's so busy, and I'm like, hey, I homeschool, and I'm like rocking pajamas and just hanging out with my kids, you know. But it's because, and again, there's nothing wrong with this, guys,
Yeah.
but it's our perspective
Yeah.
of how do we want to be. Like, screw what everybody else says moms should be, you
Yeah.
know. How do
Yeah.
you want to be?
That's exactly it. How do you want to be? How about,
Yeah,
like,
and part
let's
of that
talk about
is
receiving
I want
self-love.
to. Yeah. Whoa.
Like,
Yeah,
what about,
self-love.
like, self-love feels hard enough, like, and I believe what you're saying too. It's women in general, right? A lot of this is women in general, and then it's more amplified as moms, because we have the mirror right in front of us. Like, the children are the mirror right in
Yeah.
our face, right?
Yeah,
And
because kids always go to moms too, right?
yes, they do. Yes, they do. Doesn't matter. Daddy's
Yeah.
super present in their life, but they come to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And oh, I'm just like, whew, I'm just
Yeah. And
realizing
again,
they come to
biologically,
me and
that's
I reject
normal.
it. I reject it. That's me rejecting the love.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, because it's too much. We're touched out and everything. And again, these
As
are totally
society.
valid. Well,
Yes.
especially when we're looking at biologically, I mean, our children are born premature, like they all are. Even if you were like 44 weeks, they're all born premature when you're looking just at mammals in
Yeah.
general. And so it's normal that babies and little children go to the mom. It's biologically normal.
Normal.
But again, we're put in this, there's this mindset of society of like that's not right, or you should feel this way, or,
Yeah.
and again, there's just not much support either way, right?
Yeah.
Like you know we don't, some of us may live in multi-generational homes, but for the most part we do not, right? So it's,
Yeah.
again, it all falls on our shoulders, and we just feel so busy and everything and so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So when we're bringing these topics of receiving love from others and receiving our own self-love, a lot of people shut down and they're like, this isn't even going to help me. How's this going to help
This is
me? Do the
bullshit.
dishes.
It's
That's
not
the self-love I
practical.
want,
It's
right?
not
Like,
practical. Yeah. This doesn't help me
it's not
today.
practical, yeah. But it so is. That's how you create that life that you truly deserve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And receiving love just comes down to worth. You're worthy of your own love. You're worthy of other people's love. You're worthy of
Yeah.
that energy coming to you. You're worthy of that divine flow of love that's available
Yeah.
all the time. You're worthy of it. You're worthy to reach for it. You're worthy for it to come to you.
Yeah. And actually, I want to share an exercise with everybody that's watching that would actually
Oh,
help, because
great.
feeling worthy of receiving love can be tricky, right?
Yes, it can.
So there's a really powerful way to do this. Is you go in front of a mirror. You can just say it out loud or whisper it to yourself, or, if you have it written on a sticky note, just read it to yourself. But have an affirmation like, I am worthy of receiving love. And it's going to feel like you're, depending on where you're at, maybe it's easy. But if it's really hard to even say that, like, if you're going to feel it in your body, like you're going to tense up,
There's
or you're
going to
going to
be
roll
a
your eyes,
resistance. Yeah.
your mind's going to be like, this is so stupid, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. Just say it like 5 times a day. Do it like, a couple times a day, like in the morning and the night.
Yeah.
Keep doing that every day. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're going to notice changes. Because the thing is, we are programmed to not receive love.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we have to
know
that part of
yes.
our mind to actually receive love. And it may sound stupid to some people, but this is what works. Like looking yourself in the mirror, even if it feels like really uncomfortable, and just saying it, I am worthy of receiving love.
Yes. I love it. I love that. I'm even getting, like, in moments that maybe your child is showing you love, maybe saying it in that moment even too. Like throughout the day, you know what I mean? It's like somebody, or maybe, I don't know, whatever the cue is, somebody says thank you to you. I am worthy of receiving love, even if it's just mentally saying, I'm worthy of receiving this love. I am worthy of this thank you.
Yes.
Like you can do that throughout your day too, right? Little moments, because the awareness is key. We talk about this all the time. The awareness is key. So being aware, I think, number one, of what was it that you said that I was like, okay, I can't remember now. Being aware that it's uncomfortable, that it might be uncomfortable, and you might not believe it. You might not believe it. Just being aware of that even is good, but being committed to telling yourself it.
Yeah. And you don't have to believe it yet, because what a belief is just a repeated thought. So again, using this exercise, do it for a week, even a week.
Yes.
And then you will see the difference, because a belief is just repeated thoughts. So if you are verbally repeating it out loud to yourself, especially, and there's an additional power with doing it in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
That's that thought, that affirmation is eventually going to become a thought.
Yes.
Because this is what reprogramming essentially is. You're replacing one thought with another one.
Yeah.
And then eventually that thought becomes a belief.
And
that belief becomes a personality. So then it's just going to be, that's going to be your nature of being like, I am just constantly receiving, like you said at the very beginning of this live, and everybody should watch the beginning, because Angie had some really great points of your default is just that figure 8.
Yes.
Going in and out constantly, giving out love, receiving love, to the point where, again, it's a default. It's a default. So you are just doing it automatically. You're not even consciously doing it.
And I'm going to even add,
reprogram your subconscious of, I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of all these beautiful things that life is giving me.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's one step, like mindset is one step. Feeling it too is important, because divine love is felt. And so also, right away, like first start with the affirmations repeating, because repeated thoughts become your belief, right? And then start to notice the feeling, because like you said, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. You're going to feel it in your body, and that's the resistance, and that's the blocks. Like these are the blocks that are there, the filters, right? And feel it. Don't make anything of it. Just keep saying the thoughts and start to notice the shift in how you feel too, because
Oh
it'll
yeah.
shift. Because every time you're saying it, you're sending energy through, and it's
Yeah.
dissolving and dissolving and dissolving and dissolving that
Yeah.
cement around your heart.
Yeah. And that the resistance can feel really, really tough some days. And that's okay, because the bigger the resistance, like the more you feel it, the more you're like, ugh, I really
Yeah.
don't want to do this today. That is your higher self, your God source spirit saying, yes,
That's the
Angie,
roadmap.
yes, Julie, yes, Amanda. This
Yeah.
is where what you
Yes.
need to work with. So keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Resistance is the roadmap. That's what our teacher Jackie McDonald says all the time. Resistance in
Yeah.
the body is the roadmap. So when you feel the
Yeah. And we
resistance,
had a great live about it. I think it was last week or 2 weeks
yes,
ago.
we did. Yeah.
People should
Yeah.
definitely rewatch that video too.
Yeah, I highly recommend that one. Yeah, and so like and also our ability to receive love starts with us too, right? It starts with our self-love.
Yeah.
Where, we need to believe we're worthy. And so this is a really great starting point that Natalie's sharing with you. Like, and it's a small thing, and it will feel hard, but it's small. You're only going to feel it for those 5 times you say it.
Yeah.
You're only going to feel it for those 5 times you say it. And every day you say it, you're going to feel it a little different. Every day you're going to feel it a little different. You're going to start to become aware when love presents itself. You'll become more aware. And then in those moments, you can choose in those moments to say, I am worthy of this love. I am worthy of this love. I'm worthy of this love. The music I'm listening to, I am worthy of the love that's coming through this.
Yeah.
Like love doesn't have to be so personal with a thing, like with a person, which can bring up a lot of emotion. We have a lot of attachments when it comes to interactions with other people.
Yeah.
It can be an artist that you're appreciating.
Ah.
Love
Maybe
exists in
you're creating
everything.
something. Maybe you're painting
Yes.
something and you're like, oh yeah, I got this set from, my parents or something, this
Yeah.
easel, like my husband bought me, like, and just feeling that love in that moment too
Yeah.
towards that person. Again, that ebb and flow of love is constant, right?
Yeah.
However it shows up in that moment. Maybe you're just
Yeah.
enjoying a meal, right?
Yes, exactly. I love this. Like I love the way this color shows up on the canvas. Like That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
love. Like, and whatever, remember, there's that figure eight. Whatever you put out. So whenever you love something, whenever you think to yourself like, oh, I love this color. I'm painting with, or I'm coloring. You're putting out the energy of love, and it's going to come back to you. It can't not come back to you. It's going to come back to you.
yeah, yeah,
So the more love you output too, comes back to
yeah.
you.
Mm.
Such a cool
What an
conversation.
incredible conversation.
Yeah, such a cool
Yeah,
conversation. Thank you so much, Natalie, for
yeah, thank you. And I
being willing to
receive
talk
your
about it.
thank you.
Ah, yes. And I receive your love. Well,
Yeah,
that what's
real
but
life
true.
example here,
Yes,
guys.
exactly. As you know, Angie, I love to set my environment up for success by placing loving affirmations around her house and then moving them when they blend in. Eventually, they do become me and become my truth. So this is a beautiful thing, exactly what you're saying about when we say these things, it's a repeated thought, right? So it's something Julie does is she puts affirmations all around her house. And I have one too that says, "How can I love myself a little more today?" That's what's at my sacred space behind me. And Julie will put them up around the house, and just like life becomes default, everything becomes automatic because we're efficient beings, right? She moves them. Like when these affirmations start to blend into the background so you don't see them anymore, she will move them into
Wow,
new spaces.
what a great practice.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to train the brain as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Julie says, thank you, ladies. I needed this conversation so very much today. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. And
Yeah, thanks for being with us, Julie,
yeah,
and everybody too. And thank you for this great topic, Angie. This was such a wonderful and beautiful idea.
thank the universe for bringing it to me. It's been so present, so present in my life. Yeah, and I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And you know, for anybody that's into numerology, actually, we've just moved into the heart's energy after mental energy all month. All the beginning of the month was mental energy, mental plane. So you probably have experienced a lot of thoughts, a lot of racing thoughts, just a lot of overthinking, possibly if you're an overthinker. And we just shifted into, for the rest of the month, we're going to be in heart's energy. And so, love, this is a really great time. The universe is kind of supporting the practice of love.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. A great way to move into the holiday week.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect way to move into it. The world needs our love. We need our love. So, I'm going to end
Yeah.
there.
Pardon
Yeah.
me?
I said I'm going to end there now
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah, for
say
sure. Yeah.
thank you
Yeah,
so
I should get
much.
going too. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here, Angie and I. So let's focus on receiving the love in the back of the heart.
Yes. And just notice how it feels. All right. I love
Yeah.
you guys. Whenever
Okay.
you're tuning in, I love you guys.
Okay. Bye, guys. We'll maybe not next weekend. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Angie and I will figure it out, and she'll post it in the group,
Yeah.
and it'll pop on next time. But yeah, so happy solstice, Merry Christmas,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys have a good week and weekend. Yeah, so we'll chat with everybody later.
Yeah. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.